They say you can't put a price on freedom. But for me, it cost exactly $3.50, the price of a coffee I couldn't afford. That's when he walked into my life. That's when everything changed. My husband's fists taught me I was worthless, but a stranger's kindness taught me I was priceless. This is the story of how I went from being a punching bag to wearing a diamond ring, from hiding bruises to walking down the aisle, from surviving to finally living. And it all started on the worst day of my life, when I didn't even have enough money for a cup of coffee. But before we dive into the main story, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and also drop a comment. Thank you. The sound of Marcus's keys hitting the bowl echoed through our small apartment like a gunshot. I flinched automatically, my hands freezing over the cutting board where I'd been slicing vegetables for dinner. 6 years of marriage had taught me to read the weight of his footsteps, the particular way he breathed when he walked through that door. Tonight, the air felt heavy with something dark. "You're home early," I said softly, keeping my eyes on the carrots. "Keep your voice neutral," I reminded myself. "Don't sound happy. He'll think you're mocking him. Don't sound worried. He'll think you're guilty of something. Don't start with me, Claire." His voice was already sharp, already looking for a fight. I heard him cross to the refrigerator, heard the crack of a beer can opening. Place is a mess. I glanced around the spotless kitchen, the freshly vacuumed living room visible through the doorway. There wasn't a dish out of place, not a speck of dust anywhere. But I learned long ago that facts didn't matter when Marcus came home in this mood. The mess wasn't real. It was just his opening move, his way of establishing that nothing I did would ever be enough. "I'll do better," I murmured, hating myself for the automatic response, hating how small my voice sounded. He moved behind me, and every muscle in my body tensed. The knife trembled slightly in my hand. When his palm connected with the back of my head, not quite a slap, just a rough shove that sent me stumbling forward against the counter. I barely reacted anymore. This was my life now. This was normal. "You're pathetic," he said, his breath hot with alcohol already, though it was barely 6 o'clock. "Look at you. Can't even stand up straight. My mother was right about you." I steadied myself against the counter, my eyes burning but refusing to cry. Crying only made it worse. Instead, I focused on a water stain on the backsplash, let my mind drift somewhere else, somewhere safer. I thought about the woman I used to be, the one who'd graduated top of her class, who'd had dreams bigger than this cramped apartment, and this man who'd slowly crushed every bit of light inside her. "I'm talking to you," Marcus snapped, and I felt his hand grip my shoulder, spinning me around. His eyes were cold, assessing, daring me to say something back. "You got nothing to say?" "I'm sorry," I whispered, and I hated that I meant it. Sorry for existing, sorry for breathing, sorry for being whatever disappointment he saw when he looked at me. He released me with a disgusted sound, grabbing his beer and heading toward the living room. "Dinner better be ready in 20 minutes, he called over his shoulder. "And it better not be that garbage you made last night." I turned back to the cutting board, my hands shaking now that he was gone. Tomorrow, I told myself, the same lie I'd told myself for 3 years. Tomorrow I'll leave. Tomorrow I'll be brave. But tomorrow never came, and I knew it wouldn't. Not until something changed. Not until I found a reason stronger than fear. The next morning, Marcus left early for work without saying a word to me. I was grateful for the silence. My head still hurt from where he had pushed me last night, but at least he was gone. I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror. My eyes had dark circles under them. My skin looked pale and tired. I was only 28 years old, but I looked older. Much older. I pulled my hair back into a ponytail and tried to smile at my reflection. The smile looked fake. I needed to get out of the apartment. The walls felt like they were closing in on me. I grabbed my purse and walked to the coffee shop 3 blocks away. It was a small place called Maya's Cafe. I went there sometimes when I needed to feel normal, to pretend I was just a regular person having a regular day. The bell rang when I opened the door. The smell of fresh coffee filled my nose. It was warm inside, and there were only a few people sitting at tables. I walked to the counter and ordered a simple black coffee. I couldn't afford anything fancy. Marcus watched our bank account like a hawk. "That'll be $3.50, the girl behind the counter said with a smile. I opened my wallet and felt my heart drop. I only had $2. I must have forgotten to take cash yesterday. My face got hot with embarrassment. I'm sorry, I said quickly, putting the money back. I don't have enough. Never mind. Wait. A deep voice came from behind me. I'll pay for her coffee. And get her whatever she wants. A pastry, too. I turned around and saw him for the first time. He was tall, maybe 6 feet, with dark hair and eyes that were almost black. He wore an expensive suit that fit him perfectly. Everything about him looked rich and powerful. But when he looked at me, his eyes were kind. You don't have to do that, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I wanna, he said simply. He stepped forward and handed his credit card to the girl. Get her whatever she wants. I felt tears come to my eyes. It was such a small thing, just a cup of coffee. But no one had been kind to me in so long. I couldn't remember the last time someone did something nice without wanting something back. Thank you, I managed to say. It's nothing, he said. I'm Adrian, by the way. He held out his hand. I hesitated, then shook it. His hand was warm and strong. Claire. Nice to meet you, Claire. He smiled, and something in my chest felt different. Lighter. Mind if I join you? We sat by the window. The morning sun came through the glass and made everything feel warm and safe. Adrian sat across from me, drinking his coffee slowly. He didn't talk right away. He just sat there, comfortable with the silence. It was strange. Marcus always filled every silence with criticism or demands. So what do you do, Claire? Adrian asked after a few minutes. I looked down at my coffee cup. What did I do? Nothing. I used to work as a teacher, but Marcus made me quit 2 years ago. He said I needed to focus on taking care of the house. Taking care of him. I'm between jobs right now. I lied. It was easier than the truth. Adrian nodded. He didn't push for more information. This is my first time at this coffee shop. I usually go to the one downtown near my office, but I had a meeting nearby today. He smiled. I'm glad I came here instead. Why? The question came out before I could stop it. Because I met you, he said simply. My face felt hot. I didn't know what to say to that. Men didn't talk to me like this. Marcus certainly didn't. I looked down at my hands and saw the cheap wedding ring on my finger. I wanted to hide it, but it was too late. Adrian had already seen it. You married? He said. It wasn't a question. Yes. The word felt heavy in my mouth. Is he good to you? Adrian asked quietly. I looked up at him, surprised. His dark eyes were watching me carefully. There was something in his expression that made me feel like he already knew the answer. Like he could see all the bruises I kept hidden under long sleeves. All the hurt I kept buried inside. That's a personal question, I said, trying to smile. You're right. I am sorry. But he didn't look away. It's just that you have this look in your eyes. Like you're carrying something very heavy. I know that look. Tears filled my eyes before I could stop them. One rolled down my cheek, and I quickly wiped it away. I should go, I said, starting to stand up. Claire, wait. Adrian reached across the table, but he didn't touch me. His hand just hovered there, offering. I don't know your story, but I know what it looks like when someone is hurting. And I know that everyone deserves to be treated with kindness and respect. Everyone. I sat back down slowly. More tears came now. I couldn't stop them. I have a card, Adrian said gently. He pulled out his wallet and took out a business card. He wrote something on the back with a pen. This is my personal number. If you ever need help, any kind of help, you can call me, day or night. I mean that. I took the card with shaking hands. Adrian Cross, CEO, Cross Industries. I looked at the phone number written on the back in neat handwriting. Why are you doing this? I whispered. You don't even know me. Because someone helped me once when I needed it most, Adrian said. His eyes looked distant for a moment, like he was remembering something painful. And because I have more money and resources than I could ever use. If I can help someone, why wouldn't I? I put the card in my purse. I didn't know if I would ever use it, but just having it there felt like holding onto a small piece of hope. Thank you, I said, for the coffee, and for this. You're welcome, Claire. Adrian stood up when I did. I hope I see you again. Maybe here, same time next week. I nodded, even though I knew Marcus would never let me come back if he found out I had talked to another man. But for the first time in years, I felt something other than fear. I felt possibility. As I walked home, I kept touching my purse where the card was hidden. Adrian's words played over and over in my mind. Everyone deserves to be treated with kindness and respect. Everyone. Maybe that included me too. I went back to Maya's cafe the next week. I told Marcus I was going to the grocery store. My heart was beating fast the whole walk there. I felt like I was doing something wrong, even though all I was doing was getting coffee. Adrian was already there, sitting at the same table by the window. When he saw me come in, his whole face lit up with a smile. It made something warm spread through my chest. When was the last time someone was happy to see me? Claire, he said, standing up. I wasn't sure you'd come. I almost didn't, I admitted. He had already ordered me a coffee and a blueberry muffin. I sat down and wrapped my hand around the warm cup. We talked for an hour. He told me about his company, how he built it from nothing after his father died and left him with only debts. He told me about his sister who lived in California. He made me laugh with a story about his first business meeting where he spilled coffee all over an investor. I told him small things too, about how I used to teach second grade, how I loved reading books, how I wanted to travel someday, but had never left the state. I didn't tell him about Marcus. I didn't tell him about the fear that lived in my bones. But I think he knew anyway. Same time next week? Adrian asked when I had to leave. Yes, I said, and I meant it. The secret meetings became the only thing I looked forward to. Every Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock, I would tell Marcus I was running errands. And every Tuesday, Adrian would be waiting at our table with coffee and something sweet to eat. We talked about everything and nothing. He never asked about my marriage again, but sometimes he would look at my wrists where a bruise showed or notice how I flinched when someone moved too fast nearby. Those times, his jaw would get tight and his eyes would go dark with anger. But he never got angry at me, only at what he suspected was happening to me. On the fifth Tuesday, something changed. I walked into the cafe and saw Adrian looking at his phone. His face was serious. When he looked up and saw me, he put the phone away quickly. Everything okay? I asked, sitting down. Claire, I need to tell you something, he said. He looked nervous, which was strange. Adrian never looked nervous. I've been thinking about this for weeks. I didn't want to scare you or make you uncomfortable, but I can't keep pretending. My stomach dropped. Pretending what? That I don't care about you, he said quietly. That I don't think about you every day. That I don't want to help you get away from whatever is hurting you at home. I felt tears start to form. Adrian, I can't. I'm married to someone who hurts you, he said, his voice gentle but firm. I can see it, Claire. The way you check the time constantly. The bruises you try to hide. The fear in your eyes. You don't have to tell me details, but please don't lie and say everything is fine. A tear rolled down my cheek. Then another. It's complicated. It doesn't have to be, Adrian said. He reached across the table, and this time, he did take my hand. His touch was so gentle, so careful. Nothing like Marcus. I have resources, money, lawyers, safe places you could stay. I can help you leave. You don't understand, I said, pulling my hand back. Marcus would never let me go. He'd find me. He'd hurt me worse than before. Not if you had protection. Not if you had people watching out for you. Adrian's eyes were intense. Claire, I'm not asking you to run away with me. I'm not expecting anything from you. I just want you to be safe. That's all. I looked at this man who barely knew me, but was offering me a way out. A part of me wanted to say yes, so badly it hurt. But fear was stronger. I need time, I whispered. Take all the time you need, Adrian said. But please think about it. You deserve so much better than this. I left the cafe that day with my mind spinning. When I got home, Marcus was already there. He was early. My blood turned cold. Where were you? He asked. His voice was too calm. That was always worse than the yelling. Grocery store, I said, holding up the bags I had quickly bought on my way home. He walked over slowly and looked in the bags. Then he grabbed my purse and dumped it on the floor. Everything spilled out, including Adrian's business card. Marcus picked it up and read it. His face went red. Who is Adrian Cross? My whole body started shaking. No one, just someone who gave me his card at the store. He was selling something. Selling something, Marcus repeated. He looked at the card again, then at me. You're lying. I can always tell when you're lying. Then his hand came up fast and hit my face. The slap was hard, harder than usual. I fell to the floor, my cheek burning with pain. You've been cheating on me, he said, standing over me. My wife is a cheater and a liar. No, Isu, Shut up. He kicked the items on the floor. You're not leaving this apartment. You hear me? Not for groceries. Not for anything. You stay here where I can see you. He walked to our bedroom and slammed the door. I sat on the floor, holding my burning cheek, and I knew I couldn't live like this anymore. Adrian was right. I deserved better than this. I just needed to be brave enough to take it. 3 days passed. Marcus kept me locked in the apartment like a prisoner. He took my phone. He watched me every second when he was home. He even called during his lunch breaks to make sure I answered the house phone. If I didn't pick up by the third ring, he said he would come home and make me regret it. I spent those 3 days thinking about Adrian, thinking about his offer, thinking about the life I could have if I was just brave enough to reach for it. But every time I imagined leaving, I saw Marcus's face, his rage, his promises that he would find me wherever I went. On the 4th day, something changed. Marcus left for work, but forgot his phone on the kitchen counter. I stared at it for a long time. Then I picked it up and saw he hadn't locked it. My hands are shaking as I opened his messages. What I found made my blood run cold. Messages to another woman, dozens of them, telling her he loved her, making plans to see her, pictures I couldn't bear to look at for more than a second. He had been cheating on me for at least 6 months, maybe longer. All this time, he had been beating me and calling me worthless. All this time, he accused me of being a bad wife. And he was the one cheating, the one lying. The anger that filled me was like nothing I had ever felt before. It burned away the fear, at least for a moment. I grabbed a piece of paper and wrote down Adrian's number from memory. I had looked at that business card so many times before Marcus found it that the numbers were burned into my brain. Then I picked up the house phone and dialed with shaking fingers. He answered on the 2nd ring. Adrian Cross. Adrian, I whispered. It's Claire. Claire. His voice changed immediately, filled with concern. Are you okay? I've been worried. You didn't come Tuesday. I can't talk long, I said, looking at the clock. Marcus would call to check on me in 20 minutes. But I need help. You said you could help me. Did you mean it? Yes. Absolutely yes. I could hear him moving around, like he was already taking action. What do you need? Where are you? I'm at home. Marcus locked me in. He took my phone. But he forgot his phone today, and I found. My voice broke. He's been cheating on me. For months. Maybe years. And I can't do this anymore. I can't stay here. Listen to me very carefully, Adrian said. His voice was calm and strong. It made me feel safer just hearing it. Can you pack a bag? Just essentials. Don't take much or he'll notice. Yes, I said. Good. Do that now. I'm sending a car to your address. It'll be there in 30 minutes. The driver's name is James. He'll wait down the street. When you're ready, you walk out that door and you get in that car. Don't look back. Don't leave a note. Just go. Can you do that? Could I? My whole body was shaking. But underneath the fear was that anger still burning. And underneath the anger was something else. Hope. Yes, I said. I can do that. Claire, Adrian said, and his voice got softer. You're so brave. You know that? You're the bravest person I've ever met. I started crying. I don't feel brave. You are. And in 30 minutes, you're going to prove it. Pack your bag. I'll see you soon. I promise you'll be safe. I hung up and stood there for a moment, letting it all sink in. Then I moved fast. I grabbed a backpack from the closet and threw in clothes, my birth certificate, my old college diploma, the few pieces of jewelry my mother had left me before she died. I changed out of my house clothes into jeans and a sweater. I put on my shoes. 25 minutes had passed. The house phone rang. Marcus, checking in. My heart pounded as I stared at it ringing. If I didn't answer, he would know something was wrong. He would come home. But if I answered, he would keep me on the phone and I would miss my chance. The phone rang and rang. I let it go to voicemail. Then I grabbed my backpack, walked to the door, and put my hand on the handle. This was it. Once I walked through this door, everything would change. There would be no going back. I thought about Marcus's hand across my face, his cruel words, his cheating, his lies. Then I thought about Adrian's kind eyes, his gentle voice, the way he made me feel like a person again instead of a thing to be used and broken. I opened the door and walked out, down the stairs, out of the building, into the bright afternoon sun. A black car was waiting down the street, just like Adrian promised. A man in a suit stood by it. "Claire," he asked. "Yes," I said. "I am James. Let's get you somewhere safe." I got in the car, and we drove away. I didn't look back, not even once. James drove me to a building downtown that looked like it touched the sky. Everything was glass and steel and money. He led me through a private entrance to an elevator that required a key card. We went up and up until my ears popped. When the doors opened, Adrian was standing there waiting. He looked worried and relieved at the same time. When he saw me, he stepped forward like he wanted to hug me, but then stopped himself. "You made it," he said softly. "I made it," I repeated. Then my legs gave out. Adrian caught me before I hit the floor. He held me while I cried into his expensive suit, big, ugly sobs that came from somewhere deep inside. All the fear and pain and rage of 6 years came pouring out. He didn't say anything. He just held me and let me cry until I had nothing left. When I finally pulled back, I saw his shirt was soaked with my tears. "I'm sorry," I said. "Don't be." He helped me stand. "Come on, let me show you where you'll be staying." The penthouse was bigger than any home I had ever seen. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the whole city below. There was art on the walls that probably cost more than I made in a year when I was teaching. Everything was clean and bright and beautiful. "This is too much," I said. "This is my home," Adrian said. "And you're welcome here for as long as you need. There's a guest room down that hall. It has its own bathroom. It locks from the inside if that makes you feel safer." He showed me to a bedroom that was twice the size of the apartment I had just left. The bed looked soft and clean. There were fresh flowers on the dresser. "I'll leave you alone to rest," Adrian said. "But Claire, I need you to know something. Marcus doesn't know where you are. He can't find you here. There's security downstairs. You're safe. Safe." The word felt strange. I couldn't remember the last time I felt safe. "Thank you," I whispered. "I don't know how I'll ever repay you." "You don't have to repay me," Adrian said. "Just focus on healing. That's all I ask." He left and closed the door. I sat on the edge of the bed and looked around. Then I lay back and stared at the ceiling. I was free. For the first time in 6 years, I was free. My phone buzzed, except I didn't have my phone anymore. Then I realized it was Marcus's phone that I had shoved in my pocket without thinking. I pulled it out and saw 37 missed calls, all from the house phone. Then text messages started coming through from his girlfriend. "Where are you? You said you'd be here at 5. I turned off the phone. I didn't want to see anymore. But even as I did, a new fear crept in. Marcus would go home. He would find me gone, and he would be so angry. I must have fallen asleep because I woke up to gentle knocking. It was dark outside now. The city lights sparkled like stars. "Claire, I made dinner if you're hungry," Adrian called through the door. I got up and opened it. He was standing there in jeans and a t-shirt now. He looked more normal, more real. "What time is it?" I asked. 7:30. "You slept for 3 hours. That meant Marcus had been home for an hour. He knew I was gone." My hand started shaking again. "Hey," Adrian said, noticing. "What is it?" "He knows. Marcus knows I'm gone by now. He's going to be looking for me." Adrian's jaw tightened. "Let him look. He won't find you. I promise." He paused. "Come eat something. You'll feel better with food in your stomach." We sat at his dining table and ate pasta that Adrian had cooked himself. It was simple but good. We didn't talk much. I was too tired and too scared to make conversation. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow made me think Marcus had found me somehow. After dinner, Adrian made tea and we sat in his living room. The city stretched out below us. Millions of lights in the darkness. "What happens now?" I asked. "Now you rest," Adrian said. "Tomorrow, if you want, I can connect you with a lawyer. Someone who specializes in cases like yours. We can start divorce proceedings. Get a restraining order. Make sure he can never hurt you again legally." "He won't care about legal papers," I said. "Maybe not, but it's a start." Adrian looked at me. "Claire, I know you're scared. You have every right to be, but you did the hardest part. You left. Everything else, we can figure out together. Why are you doing this?" I asked. "Really, you could have anyone. Help anyone. Why me?" Adrian was quiet for a long moment. "When I was 15, my mother tried to leave my father. He was like your Marcus. Mean. Violent. She planned it for months. Saved money in secret. But he found out. And he stopped, his voice tight. He put her in the hospital. She never tried to leave again. She died when I was 22. A heart attack, they said. But I think it was a broken spirit. Tears filled my eyes. I'm so sorry. So when I see someone like you, someone trying to be brave enough to leave, I have to help. I have to. Because maybe if someone had helped my mother, she'd still be here. He looked at me. You remind me of her. Strong, even when you think you're not. We sat in silence, both carrying the weight of our pasts. Outside, my phone buzzed again. Marcus's phone. More calls. More messages. But I was here, in this beautiful, safe place, with someone who understood. For the first time in years, I let myself believe that maybe, just maybe, I could have a different life. I woke up screaming. In my dream, Marcus had found me. He was breaking down the door, his face red with rage, his fists ready to punish me for leaving. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought it would burst. The bedroom door opened, and Adrian rushed in. Claire, are you okay? I was shaking, covered in sweat. I am sorry. I'm sorry. It was just a dream. He sat on the edge of the bed, careful to keep distance between us. You have nothing to apologize for. Nightmares are normal after what you've been through. I woke you up, I said, embarrassed. I was already awake, Adrian admitted. I don't sleep much. He looked at me with concern. Do you want some water? Or I can make warm milk. My mother used to make it for me when I had bad dreams. I nodded. We went to the kitchen together, and he heated milk on the stove with a little honey. We sat at the counter drinking it. The clock on the wall said 3 a.m. Tell me something good, I said. Something that has nothing to do with any of this. I just need to think about something else. Adrian smiled. When I was 8, I wanted to be an astronaut. I read every book about space I could find. I even wrote a letter to NASA asking if they needed any second graders. Did they write back? I asked. They did, actually. They sent me a picture of the space shuttle and a note saying to study hard, and maybe one day I could join them. He laughed. I kept that picture until I was in college. It's probably still in a box somewhere. Why didn't you become an astronaut? I asked. Life happened. My father died. I had to take care of my mother and sister. The business needed me. He shrugged. But sometimes I still look up at the stars and wonder what it would have been like. We talked until the sun started to rise. Adrian told me stories about his childhood, about his sister who was a doctor now, about the time he almost lost his company but fought to save it. I told him about teaching, about my students who used to make me cards, about the books I loved to read. For a few hours, we were just two people talking. Not a victim and a rescuer. Just Claire and Adrian. When morning came, Adrian's lawyer arrived. Her name was Patricia Chun, and she was all business. She sat across from me at the dining table with a leather folder full of papers. I've handled hundreds of cases like yours, Patricia said. Her voice was kind but firm. The first thing we need to do is file for divorce and get an emergency restraining order. Has Marcus tried to contact you? I showed her his phone with all the missed calls and messages. Over 100 now. Some of the messages were angry, some were apologizing, some were threatening. Patricia took pictures of everything. This is good evidence, she said. It shows a pattern of harassment. Judge Morrison will issue the restraining order today. Marcus won't be allowed within 500 feet of you. He won't care about a piece of paper, I said. Maybe not, Patricia agreed. But if he violates it, he goes to jail. Most abusers care about that. She pulled out more papers. Now for the divorce. It's going to take time. Probably 6 months to a year. But we can start the process today. I signed papers until my hand hurt. Divorce papers. Restraining order forms. Statements about the abuse. Every signature felt like taking back a piece of myself. After Patricia left, Adrian got a phone call. His face went dark as he listened. Are you sure? He said into the phone. Okay. Keep me updated. He hung up and looked at me. What is it? I asked, fear creeping back in. That was my head of security. Marcus showed up at your old apartment building this morning. He was shouting your name, banging on doors. The neighbors called the police. My blood went cold. Did they arrest him? No. He left before they got there. But Claire, he's looking for you. He went to the coffee shop too. Maya's Cafe. He showed the staff your picture and asked if anyone had seen you. I felt sick. He's going to find me. No, he's not, Adrian said firmly. He came and sat next to me. Listen to me. My security team is the best. This building has cameras everywhere. No one gets up here without clearance. And by this afternoon, you'll have a restraining order. If he comes near you, he'll be arrested. You don't know him, I said. When Marcus wants something, he doesn't stop. Then neither will I, Adrian said. His dark eyes were intense. I meant what I said. You're safe here. I won't let him hurt you again. I wanted to believe him. But fear was a powerful thing. It lived in my bones now. That afternoon, Patricia called with good news. The restraining order was approved. Marcus had been served the papers at his work. He couldn't come near me or contact me in any way. If he did, he would be arrested immediately. How did he react? I asked. According to the process server, he tore up the papers and threw them, Patricia said. Then he got escorted out of his office by security. He's probably been fired. That should have made me feel safer. Instead, it made me more afraid. Marcus without a job meant Marcus with nothing to lose. And a man with nothing to lose was dangerous. That night, I couldn't eat dinner. I sat by the window and watched the city below. Somewhere out there, Marcus was looking for me. Somewhere out there, he was planning. I could feel it. Adrian sat next to me. He didn't say anything. He just sat there, a quiet presence, letting me know I wasn't alone. And somehow, that helped more than any words could have. 2 weeks passed. Marcus didn't find me. The restraining order kept him away, at least legally. But I still jumped at every sound. I still had nightmares most nights. Adrian never complained when I woke him up screaming. Slowly, something started to change inside me. The constant fear began to fade just a little. I started to notice small things. The way the morning light came through the windows. The taste of good coffee. The sound of rain against the glass. Things I hadn't noticed in years because I'd been too busy surviving. Adrian worked from home most days now. He said it was because of meetings, but I knew it was because he didn't want to leave me alone. I was grateful, even though I didn't say it out loud. One morning, I found him in his home office. He was on a video call, talking about quarterly reports and market shares. He looked different when he worked. Powerful. In control. This was the billionaire CEO the world saw. When he noticed me in the doorway, his whole face softened. He muted his microphone. Everything okay? I was thinking, I said. I need to do something. I can't just sit here every day. I'm going crazy. What do you want to do? He asked. I don't know. Something useful. Maybe I could look for a job? Start teaching again? Adrian smiled. I think that's a great idea. But maybe start small? There's a library 2 blocks from here. Very public. Very safe. Maybe you could volunteer there a few hours a week. The thought of leaving the penthouse scared me, but also excited me. I nodded. Okay. Yes. I can do that. That's my girl, Adrian said, then caught himself. I didn't mean. It's okay, I said, feeling my cheeks get warm. I liked it. Our eyes met and held. Something passed between us. Something neither of us was ready to name yet. Then someone on his video call said his name, and the moment broke. That afternoon, Adrian walked with me to the library. It was the first time I'd been outside in 2 weeks. The sun felt too bright. The sounds of the city felt too loud. Every man who walked past us made my heart race. But Adrian stayed close, his presence steady and calm. The library was beautiful. Old books and new computers. Quiet corners and reading books. The head librarian, Mrs. Chun, was a tiny woman with gray hair and kind eyes. She put me to work shelving books in the children's section. Being around books again felt like coming home. I ran my fingers over the spines, remembered all the stories I used to read to my second graders. All the dreams those stories held. Maybe I could have dreams again, too. I volunteered 3 days a week. It gave me a routine, a purpose. The nightmares started to come less often. I smiled more. Adrian noticed. You look different, he said one evening over dinner. Different how? I asked. Lighter, like someone lifted a weight off your shoulders. He poured us both wine. I'm proud of you, Claire. What you're doing isn't easy. I couldn't do it without you, I said honestly. Yes, you could, Adrian said. You're stronger than you think. I'm just here to remind you of that. After dinner, we sat on his balcony and watched the sunset. The sky turned orange and pink and purple. It was beautiful. Adrian sat close to me, close enough that our shoulders almost touched. Can I ask you something? I said. Anything. Why aren't you married? A man like you, with everything you have. There must be women everywhere who want to be with you. Adrian was quiet for a moment. Evadated, but it never felt right. Everyone wanted Adrian cross the CEO. Adrian crossed the billionaire. No one wanted just Adrian. He looked at me. Until you. I didn't even know you were a billionaire when we met, I said. I know. That's why I kept coming back to that coffee shop. You saw me. Just me. Not my bank account or my company. Just a man who bought you coffee. He turned to face me fully. Claire, I need to be honest with you. My feelings for you, they're not just about helping someone in trouble. They're more than that. My heart started beating faster. Adrian, you don't have to say anything, he said quickly. You're still healing. Still going through a divorce. I know the timing is terrible. I just needed you to know. When you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'm here. Not as your rescuer, just as a man who cares about you very much. I looked at this man who had saved my life in every way possible, who had given me a safe place and never asked for anything in return, who made me laugh and held me when I cried, who looked at me like I was precious. I care about you too, I whispered. More than I should, more than I thought I could after Marcus. You made me feel like myself again, like the person I used to be before I lost her. You never lost her, Adrian said softly. She was just hiding, waiting for it to be safe to come back out. He reached over and took my hand. His touch was gentle, asking permission. I laced my fingers through his and held on tight. We sat there as the sun disappeared and the stars came out, holding hands like teenagers, and I felt something I hadn't felt in 6 years. Hope. Real, genuine hope that maybe I could have a future. Maybe I could have love. Maybe I could have everything I thought was gone forever. But I should have known that happiness never comes without a price. Because 3 days later, everything fell apart. I was leaving the library when I saw him. Marcus was standing across the street, leaning against a building. He was wearing the same jacket he always wore. His hair was messy, like he hadn't slept in days. When our eyes met, he smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. My blood turned to ice. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Mrs. Chun was locking up behind me, talking about something, but I couldn't hear her. All I could hear was my own heart pounding in my ears. Marcus started walking toward me. He was crossing the street, breaking the restraining order right in front of everyone. I finally found my voice. Mrs. Chun, call the police, I said. Now. She looked confused until she saw Marcus. Then her eyes went wide, and she pulled out her phone. Claire, Marcus called out. His voice was too calm, too friendly, like we were old friends meeting on the street. We need to talk. Stay away from me, I said, backing up. You're not supposed to be here. There's a restraining order. I just want to talk, he said, getting closer. 5 minutes. That's all. You owe me that much. I don't owe you anything. My voice was shaking, but I kept talking. The police are coming. You need to leave. The police, Marcus laughed. It was an ugly sound. You think the police scare me? You took everything from me, Claire. My wife. My home. My job. You destroyed my life. You destroyed your own life, I said. People on the street were stopping now, watching. You're the one who hit me. You're the one who cheated. This is all your fault. His face went red. My fault? I gave you everything. A home, food, a life. And this is how you repay me? By running away with some rich man? You're nothing but a gold-digging whore. The words hit me like slaps. For a moment, I was that scared woman again, the one who believed she deserved the pain. But then I thought about Adrian, about the library, about the person I was becoming, and I found my strength. No, I said loudly. I'm not. I'm someone who deserves respect, someone who deserves love, someone who deserves better than you. Marcus lunged forward and grabbed my arm. His grip was tight, painful. You're coming with me. We're going to fix this. Let go of her. A voice shouted. Adrian came running from down the street. He must have been coming to meet me. His face was full of rage as he saw Marcus holding me. Marcus turned to him. So this is him. This is the rich bastard who stole my wife. I didn't steal anyone, Adrian said. His voice was dangerous and low. She ran from you. There's a difference. Now let her go before I make you let go. You think you're better than me because you have money? Marcus laughed again. You're just another man who wants what's mine. She's not yours, Adrian said. She never was. She's her own person. Now, let her go, or I'll. Marcus pulled something from his jacket. A knife. Small but sharp. People around us screamed. Mrs. Chan was crying and talking frantically into her phone. "You'll what?" Marcus said, pressing the knife against my side. I could feel the point through my shirt. "You'll take her from me?" "No. If I can't have her, no one can." Fear flooded through me. This was it. This was how it would end. After everything, after getting away, Marcus would kill me on a public street. But then I heard sirens. Police cars came racing down the street. 3 of them. They stopped and officers jumped out with guns drawn. "Drop the weapon," one of them shouted. "Drop it now." Marcus looked around. He was trapped, surrounded, but his hand didn't move from the knife. "She's my wife," he said desperately. "She belongs to me." "She doesn't belong to anyone," Adrian said. He hadn't moved, hadn't run. He stood there, ready to protect me, even with a knife between us. "Claire's her own person, and she chose to leave you. Accept it." "Never," Marcus said, but his hand was shaking now. "Sir, drop the weapon or we will shoot," the police officer said. Time seemed to slow down. I saw Marcus's eyes, wild and desperate. I saw the knife in his hand. I saw Adrian, brave and strong. And I made a choice. I stomped on Marcus's foot as hard as I could. He yelled in pain, and his grip loosened. I twisted away from the knife and ran toward Adrian. He caught me and pulled me behind him, putting his body between me and Marcus. The police moved fast. They tackled Marcus to the ground. The knife clattered on the pavement. Officers held him down while they put handcuffs on him. He was screaming my name, screaming threats, screaming that this wasn't over. But it was over. I could feel in my bones. As they pushed Marcus into the back of a police car, still shouting, I felt something break inside me. The last chain that tied me to him. The last piece of fear that kept me small. I turned to Adrian. He was checking me over, looking for injuries. "Are you hurt? Did he cut you?" "No," I said. "I am okay. I am okay." Then I started crying. Not sad tears. Relief tears. Adrian held me tight while I cried, right there on the street with people watching and police taking statements. I didn't care. I was alive. I was safe. And I was finally truly free. Marcus was in jail. The police charged him with assault with a deadly weapon, violating a restraining order, and attempted kidnapping. Patricia said he would be locked up for at least 5 years, maybe more. The thought should have made me happy, but mostly I just felt tired. The weeks after the attack were hard. I had new nightmares now. Not just about the past, but about that knife against my side. About what could have happened. Adrian stayed close, patient and gentle. He never pushed me. He just waited. One morning, I woke up and realized I hadn't dreamed at all. I'd slept through the whole night peacefully. It was the first time in months. I got up and found Adrian making breakfast in the kitchen. "You look rested," he said, smiling at me. "I slept all night," I said. "No nightmares." He came over and hugged me. It was a long hug, the kind that said more than words could. "I'm so proud of you," he whispered into my hair. "I want to go back to teaching," I said suddenly. The words just came out. Really teaching, not just volunteering. I want my life back. Adrian pulled back and looked at me. His eyes were shining. "Then let's make that happen." He helped me update my resume. He had connections at several private schools in the city. Within 2 weeks, I had 3 job interviews. I was nervous for all of them, but by the 3rd one, I felt like myself again. The real me. The confident woman who loved children and books and learning. Jefferson Elementary hired me to teach 3rd grade starting in the fall. When I got the call, I screamed so loud that Adrian came running from his office thinking something was wrong. When I told him, he picked me up and spun me around, both of us laughing. "You did it," he said. "You got your life back." "We did it," I corrected. "I couldn't have done any of this without you." That night, Adrian took me out to dinner. It was our first real date. We'd been living together for months, but we'd never gone out like a normal couple. He took me to a beautiful restaurant on the top floor of a hotel. The city sparkled below us like a field of stars. "I want to tell you something," Adrian said over dessert. "These past few months, living with you, watching you heal and grow strong again, have been the best months of my life." My heart started beating faster. "Adrian." "Wait, let me finish," he said. He took my hand across the table. "I know we did everything backwards. You moved in before we even had a first kiss. We became friends before we became anything else. But Claire, I don't care about the order. I care about you. I love you. Tears filled my eyes. I love you too. I think I've loved you since that first day in a coffee shop when you bought me a muffin and didn't ask for anything in return. Can I kiss you now? Adrian asked softly. I've been wanting to for months. Yes, I whispered. He leaned across the table and kissed me. It was gentle and sweet and perfect. Nothing like the rough, demanding kisses Marcus used to force on me. This was a kiss that asked permission. A kiss that gave instead of taking. A kiss that felt like coming home. When we pulled apart, I was crying and smiling at the same time. That was worth waiting for, I said. We have all the time in the world now, Adrian said. No more rushing. No more fear. Just us figuring this out together. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. I stood in the courthouse with Patricia and signed the papers that made me Claire Morrison again. Not Claire Henderson. My maiden name. My own name. When the judge declared the marriage dissolved, I felt 10 pounds lighter. Adrian was waiting outside the courthouse with flowers. Yellow roses, my favorite. He'd remembered from a conversation we'd had months ago. How does it feel to be a free woman? He asked. It feels like I can finally breathe, I said. We walked through the city, holding hands. Past the coffee shop where we first met. Past the library where I volunteered. Past the street where Marcus had been arrested. Every place was a memory now. A piece of my journey from victim to survivor to something more. Something whole. That night, I moved my things from the guest bedroom into Adrian's room. It was time. We were ready. We made love slowly, carefully, learning each other. Adrian was patient and gentle, erasing the bad memories with good ones. Replacing pain with pleasure. Replacing fear with trust. Afterwards, lying in his arms, I felt completely safe for the first time in my adult life. This was what love was supposed to be. This was what I deserved. And I had finally found it. Thank you, I whispered into the darkness. For what? Adrian asked. For seeing me when I couldn't see myself. For believing I was worth saving when I didn't believe it. For loving me. He kissed the top of my head. You save yourself, Claire. I just gave you a safe place to land while you did it. And loving you isn't something I had to work at. It's the easiest thing I've ever done. I fell asleep in his arms, peaceful and whole, ready to start the next chapter of my life. 6 months passed like a dream. I started teaching at Jefferson Elementary and fell in love with my students all over again. 22 third graders with big eyes and bigger imaginations. They called me Miss Morrison and brought me pictures they drew. Every day felt like a gift. Adrian and I settled into a life together. Real life. We cooked dinner together. We argued about what to watch on TV. We learned each other's habits and quirks. He left coffee cups everywhere. I always forgot to close cabinet doors. These small, normal things felt like miracles to me. My nightmares stopped completely. I could walk down the street without fear. I could laugh without checking to see if someone would get angry. I could just be myself, fully and completely. The woman I was always meant to be. One Saturday morning, Adrian woke me up early. Get dressed, he said. Something nice. We're going somewhere. Where? I asked, still half asleep. It's a surprise. He kissed my forehead. Trust me. An hour later, we were in his car, driving out of the city. The buildings gave way to trees and open roads. I watched the world go by, my hand in his, perfectly content. We pulled up to a small house by a lake. It was beautiful, with white siding and blue shutters. There was a garden in front full of flowers. A dock stretched out into the water where a small boat was tied up. What is this place? I asked. Come see, Adrian said. We walked through the house together. It had 3 bedrooms, a big kitchen with windows overlooking the lake, a living room with a fireplace. Everything was empty but clean. Sunlight poured through every window. I bought it, Adrian said. Well, I put an offer on it. It's not final yet. I turned to look at him. You bought a house? I bought us a house, he corrected. If you want it. I know the penthouse is nice, but it's not really a home. It's just where I sleep. I thought maybe we could have a real home. Together. A place to build a life. Tears filled my eyes. Adrian, this is too much. It's not enough, he said. He took both my hands in his. Claire, these past months with you have shown me what life is supposed to be. Not just work and money and success, but love, partnership, home. I want all of that with you. I want that too, I said. Then there's something I need to ask you. Adrian let go of my hands and reached into his pocket. He pulled out a small black box. My heart stopped. He got down on one knee right there in an empty living room with the sun streaming in around us. When he opened the box, I saw the most beautiful ring I'd ever seen. It wasn't huge or flashy. It was perfect. A simple diamond on a gold band that caught the light and threw tiny rainbows across the walls. "Claire Morrison," Adrian said, and his voice was shaking. "You are the strongest, bravest, most incredible woman I have ever met. You've been through hell and came out the other side even more beautiful. I don't want to spend another day without you. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want to build a life with you in this house. I want to have children with you someday if you want them. I want everything with you. Will you marry me?" I was crying so hard I could barely see him through my tears. All I could think about was that day in the coffee shop when I didn't have enough money for coffee, when I thought my life was over, when I couldn't imagine ever being happy again. And now here I was, standing in a beautiful house by a lake with a man who loved me, really loved me, asking me to spend forever with him. A man who had never raised his hand to me, who had never made me feel small, who had shown me what real love looked like. "Yes," I said through my tears. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes." Adrian stood up and slipped the ring on my finger. It fit perfectly. He pulled me into his arms and kissed me, both of us crying and laughing at the same time. "I love you so much," he said against my lips. "I love you too," I said. "Thank you for finding me. Thank you for saving me." "You saved yourself," Adrian said, repeating what he'd told me before. "I just reminded you that you could." We stood there holding each other in our empty house, the rings sparkling on my finger, and I felt complete. I had been broken, and I had healed. I had been lost, and I had been found. I had been treated like trash, and now I wore a ring from a man who treated me like a queen. My journey hadn't been easy. The scars from Marcus would probably never fully disappear, but they were part of my story now, part of what made me strong, part of what taught me to recognize real love when I finally found it. "So what do you think?" Adrian asked, gesturing around the house. "Can you see us here?" I looked around at the empty rooms, waiting to be filled with furniture and memories and life. I could see everything. Christmas mornings with a tree by the window, summer days swimming in the lake, children running through these halls someday, growing old together on the porch watching sunsets. "I can see everything," I said. "Our whole future." "Then let's start building it," Adrian said. Together, we walked through the house hand in hand, planning and dreaming, talking about paint colors and furniture, about the garden I wanted to plant, about the office Adrian would build, about the life we would create in this place. And as we walked, the ring on my finger caught the light over and over again, a reminder that I was loved, that I was chosen, that I was worth it, that I had survived and thrived and found happiness on the other side of darkness. My husband used to slap me and treat me like trash. But one day, I met a billionaire who put a ring on my finger and showed me what love really meant. And that made all the difference. 1 year later, I stood in front of my classroom writing the date on the board. May 15th, the last month of the school year. My students were working quietly on their reading assignments, the room filled with the peaceful sound of turning pages and scratching pencils. My engagement ring caught the light as I wrote. I still wasn't used to it. Sometimes I would just stop and stare at it, amazed that this was my life now. In 2 months, I would become Claire Cross. The thought made me smile every time. "Miss Morrison?" A small voice pulled me from my thoughts. Emma, one of my quieter students, stood by my desk. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course, sweetie," I said, kneeling down to her level. "You're always smiling now," Emma said. "You smile more than any teacher I ever had. Are you happy?" The question took me by surprise. Out of the mouths of children came the deepest truths. "Yes," I said honestly. "I'm very happy. Are you happy, Emma?" She nodded. "My mom says happy teachers make the best teachers. She says you're the best." I hug her, my heart full. "Thank you. That means a lot to me." After school, I drove to the lake house. We moved in 3 months ago, and every day I loved it more. The garden I planted was blooming with roses and tulips. The kitchen smelled like home. Our bedroom overlooked the water where we watched the sunset every night. Adrian's car was already in the driveway. He'd been working from home more, saying he wanted to enjoy the house we'd built together. I found him on the back deck, his laptop closed, just staring out at the lake. "Hey," I said, wrapping my arms around him from behind. "Penny for your thoughts?" "Just thinking about how different life is now," he said, covering my hands with his. A year and a half ago, I was working 80 hours a week, eating takeout at my desk, going home to an empty penthouse. I had everything and nothing at the same time. And now, I asked, now I have everything that matters. He turned and pulled me into his lap. "You, this house, a life worth living." I was successful before, but I wasn't happy. "Not really." "Me neither," I said softly. I was just surviving. I didn't even know what happy felt like anymore. We sat there in comfortable silence, watching the water. A bird flew low over the lake. The sun was starting to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. "I saw Marcus's girlfriend today," I said. The words came out before I could stop them. Adrian tensed. "Where?" "At the grocery store." She didn't see me. She looked tired, sad. She had a bruise on her arm. I took a breath. I almost went up to her, almost told her to run. But I didn't. I just paid for my groceries and left. "Why didn't you?" Adrian asked gently. "Because I remembered something Patricia told me once. You can't save someone who isn't ready to be saved. She has to find her own strength, just like I did." I looked down at my ring, but I left my car with the cashier, just in case she ever needs help. Adrian kissed my temple. "That's all you can do. Plant the seed and hope it grows. Do you think he'll ever stop hurting people?" I asked. "No," Adrian said honestly. "Men like Marcus don't change. But he's in prison now, and when he gets out, he'll have a record. It'll be harder for him to hide what he is." "That's something." I nodded. Marcus would be in prison for 3 more years. 3 years where he couldn't hurt anyone. The thought gave me peace. "Patricia called today," Adrian said, changing the subject. "The final papers came through. Everything from your marriage to Marcus is officially settled. No more court dates. No more lawyers. It's done. It's done," I repeated. The words felt final, complete. I was free in every way that mattered now. "So," Adrian said with a grin, "that means we can focus on our wedding. Have you decided on a date?" "September," I said. "The 3rd Saturday. Small ceremony. Just close friends and family. Nothing big." "Whatever you want," Adrian said. "I just want to call you my wife." "I want that too." I leaned in and kissed him. "Thank you for being patient with me, for letting me heal at my own pace, for never pushing. You're worth waiting for," Adrian said simply. That night, we cooked dinner together. Pasta with homemade sauce, garlic bread, a salad from the garden. We ate on the deck as the stars came out. We talked about the wedding, about maybe getting a dog, about someday filling the extra bedrooms with children. Later, lying in bed with Adrian's arms around me, I thought about the journey that brought me here, the pain and fear. The moment in the coffee shop when I didn't have enough money and a stranger showed me kindness. The courage it took to leave. The healing that followed. I thought about the woman I used to be, small and scared and broken. And I thought about the woman I was now, strong and loved and whole. They were both me, both part of my story. "What are you thinking about?" Adrian murmured sleepily. "About how far I've come," I said. "About how I never thought I'd be this happy. About how grateful I am that you walked into that coffee shop on that exact day at that exact time." "Fate," Adrian said. "Maybe," I agreed. "Or maybe just luck. Either way, I'm glad you found me. I'm glad you let me," he said. I touched my engagement ring in the darkness, feeling the smooth band, the facets of the diamond. This ring was more than jewelry. It was a symbol of everything I'd overcome, everything I'd survived, everything I'd become. My husband used to slap me and treat me like trash. But that wasn't the end of my story. It was just the beginning. Because one day, I met a billionaire who put a ring on my finger and showed me that I deserved love. Real love. The kind that heals instead of hurts. The kind that builds instead of destroys. The kind that lasts. And as I drifted off to sleep in the safety of Adrian's arms, in the home we'd built together, With a future full of promise stretching out before us, I knew one thing for certain. I had found my happy ending. But more importantly, I had found myself. And that was worth more than any ring, any house, any amount of money in the world. I was Claire Morrison, soon to be Claire Cross. Teacher, survivor, fighter, Loa, friend. And finally, after everything, I was free. Don't forget to drop a comment, like, and share, please. The end.